Try to pull off this type of spin move like McDavid, or maybe a toe drag, or maybe an aggressive move to the net like this, and it feels like your decisions aren't right. The defenseman gets in your way, reads it easily, and sends you into the corner where you get slammed against the boards. You get to the bench, and your coach tells you to keep things simple, just get pucks on net, and not overcomplicate things. You're confused and frustrated, but deep down, you know you have the skills to pull off moves like these. Deception is a language, and if you can't speak it fluently, you'll never open up good areas of the ice. My name is Xander, the founder and head coach of Conscious Hockey. I help pro, college, and high level AAA players make better decisions with structured hockey IQ systems. By the end of this video, you are going to know why you create no space on one-on-ones and exactly what to do about it. The real problem is that you are trying to make moves instead of trying to solve hockey problems. Now, let me explain exactly what that means. As McDavid skates in here, if he thinks I'm going to do a spin move, that will create subconscious giveaways, almost like tells that he wants to go to the outside, making the fake not as deceptive against that defender. And so when you skate in, you should be thinking of the area that you want to pull the defender in instead of thinking, "Oh, I want to use this move." Right? If McDavid, like I said, if McDavid thinks, "Oh, I want to do a toe drag," your body language and your mind will give away that you're actually going to do that. You'll telegraph the move, and you'll basically signal to the defenseman to shut you down and go in that area. Another problem similar to this, is when players skate around thinking, "Oh, I have a favorite move that I really want to use." Right? When you think about a favorite move you want to use, you end up forcing it in situations where it doesn't belong. It would be like thinking when you hang out with your friends that you want to say your favorite sentence to your friends or your favorite joke, and you go around saying that joke all the time. After probably like the first or second time, that joke or that sentence, let's say, would get really old with your friends, and they'd be like, "Why is this guy even hang out with us? He's super weird." And so you don't want to memorize a specific move and say, "This is my favorite move, and I like to use this move. Where do I use this move? How do I use this move?" There are no good moves. There are only hockey problems to solve. There are areas that you fake towards, and there are areas that you escape towards. You don't want to be an expert in one specific tool, let's say. Imagine if you are a master builder of a house, right? You know how to build a house, but you only know how to use a saw, right? Imagine trying to build a house, but the only tool you can use is a saw. When you have to screw drive something in or hammer something in or, glue something together, only tool you have is a saw. That would be very difficult to build a house like that. And it's very difficult to make moves and be deceptive like that. And a lot of players, they have a sort of a connection with, "Oh, well, when I'm in this area of the ice, what move should I do? Should I do this move? Should I do that move?" And the truth is, there are no perfect rules like that, because every situation is a little bit different. And how you skate in the situation molds the opponent around you, right? McDavid, as he skates in, is showing that he might go to the middle. He's slowing down ever so slightly. His body language is showing the middle, and that makes the defender hesitate just a little bit. So instead of feeling shame or feeling guilt after a move, imagine if you could feel that like awesome kind of creative feeling of pulling off a random move you've never tried before. That is what happens when you get away from this kind of like favorite tool way of thinking, or I make moves type of thinking, and more into how do I solve this problem? How do I get this defender away from the area that I want to use? And players really overemphasize the moves themselves, right? The stick handling, the dangles, the weight shifts. They'll go to, practice, and they'll set up a bunch of cones, and they'll practice their dangles through a bunch of cones or around a bunch of obstacles or whatever. And this doesn't really translate to games, because what really gets a defender to bite is not simply the stick handle that you throw at the end. That's probably the last maybe 20% of the fake. The full 80%, the rest of the 80% of the fake that actually causes the opponent to bite is the skating. Okay, so if you look at Newhook, he is skating to the outside. He looks like he's about to dip his shoulder and drive the net. And that is what gets this defender to bite on the outside. And if we go through all of these examples, you'll see that it's really the skating that sells the fake, 80% of the fake. Okay, let's look at Sherwood's goal here. He skates in and he kind of does a little bit of a route that looks like he's going to the outside shoulder of Ekholm here. And as he's doing that, he throws the little icing on the cake fake, which is a fake pass to the outside. And you can watch Ekholm. He's already stepping, already biting on the outside before Sherwood has actually toe dragged it in. Just look at the cause and effect, right? The toe drag doesn't get the defender to bite. It's actually the body language that comes before the toe drag. The toe drag is what escapes the fake. And it's very important to emphasize the right part of the fake, or else you'll never understand why your deceptive moves aren't actually working in a game. Even on a breakaway, it's the same idea. Look at Pasternak's skating as he comes in. It looks like he's driving at this back post. And then once he gets close to the goalie, he throws a hesitation, kind of a stick handle fake to that side, which seals the deal. And so it's never just the hands, right? If you think, oh, I'm gonna chop lettuce and stick handle around all my opponents, it's not going to work. You have to get your skating direction to do the bulk of the deceptive work, the deceptive energy. And I always like to think about the longer you skate in a certain direction, the more likely the defender is going to bite on your fake at that last maybe 10, 15, 20%, stick handle or hesitation or head fake. Okay, so if you're not creating separation from opponents and you're not standing out deceptively, it's probably not because of your hands. It's probably because of your skating route and where you're actually selling with that skating route. And last thing on this video, that's one of the most important things about this video, is that you might look at all these fakes and say, oh my gosh, I have to be so fast and skilled to make these moves. And the truth is, there's a lot of gliding in these moves, right? There's a glide when McDavid is selling this fake. There's a glide that pulls that defender to lunge forward and eventually lose his edge. In the other moves, there's a little bit of kind of a skating posture. It's not a full speed sprint always, because when you want to get past the defender, it's important that you get the defender to come forward at you or out to the side in this particular case. And to do that, you need to glide. You need to be a little bit slower. You can't be full speed. If you go absolutely full speed all the time, you end up pushing that defender back because he's trying to counter that speed. And so even Newhook here, there is an element of kind of like he takes a little bit of gas off his route at the end. So I'm not saying you skate slow the whole time. I'm saying as you approach the defender, you're skating full speed. And then as you get into that maybe like 2 to 3 stick length range, as long as your open ice skating was being deceptive enough, if you kind of start skating as opposed to sprinting and maybe even gliding, and then you throw your fake, your stick handle, your hesitation, your body language fake, that should be the icing on the cake, and it should get even better with your change of pace there. And so when I learned this, it gave me a lot of hope, because I was like, oh, I don't actually have to be the most, the fastest, craziest, McKinnon, McDavid level top end speed. I can be, pretty average speed. And if I know how to use my speed changes, if I know how to sell a direction with my body language, I can really get defenders out of position and cause them to overcommit and give me a lot of space. It's just kind of like, imagine, like I said, that power bar. The longer you skate in a certain direction, the more time you spend skating a certain direction, the more likely the defender is to bite in that direction. And if you look at Sherwood here, he glides, looks like he's about to dish it, gliding, and then that's what gets by. So he is going faster than Ekholm here, but he glides at the end, because if he goes full speed, he signifies to the defender to back up and play him. Okay, so if you want help personalizing these strategies to your individual game, You can apply to work with me by using the application link in the description below or in the pinned comment. If you don't want that, if you don't need extra help personalizing it to you, you can comment below and tell me if you like these videos. I'm posting them every single day, and we're going to be doing them for a while. So let me know if you like these videos, what topics, what goals you'd like to see, and I will make it happen. But I will see you guys in the next one, and thank you for watching.